Low self-esteem? No, bro. Females these days have no self-esteem. The other day, I was cruising on Facebook, I was looking at my news feed, and I saw that some of the girls, some of my female friends, they're saying a lot of negative things about themselves. They're saying some of the just negative, nastiest things about themselves, you know. And so it got me thinking, and self-esteem has been something I've been thinking about, for a couple years now, So I decided, let's talk about this. Let's take a in-depth analysis of some of the causes of low self-esteem. We're gonna look at that, and really, this really isn't gonna be a video about how to boost it per se, because that when it really comes down to how to improve self-esteem, it will always and forever come down to the individual suffering from it. It doesn't matter how many times I say, hey, look, you're great, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter how many times your parents or anyone does it. What matters is you, a person, the individual with low self-esteem. What matters is you think very highly of yourself, because it is self-esteem. So really what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to talk about some instances where I suffered from low self-esteem. I'm going to talk about some things that I've seen on Facebook, some people I've talked to about, and we're going to talk about some of the causes. We can talk about some of the effects, and really the purpose of telling these stories and talking about it is really to get into the root of it. Because let me give you an example. If you look at a weed, it doesn't matter how many times you pluck up the stem of the weed. If the roots are still inside, if the roots are still in the ground, what's gonna happen is not only are those roots gonna get bigger and get stronger, but they're gonna go in there deeper and deeper and deeper. It doesn't matter how many times you pluck up the stem. If the roots are still, in the garden, still in the grass, it's gonna get stronger. It's gonna start sucking up, more nutrients for the grass, and it's gonna have a whole bunch more weeds. And so, and our mind kind of works that way too, and whenever we have a problem, we push it off to the side and we don't address it or deal with it, like I said, those roots, they get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So if we go to the causes, if we go to the cause of the problem, I can't necessarily guarantee a solution for it. Only you, again, the person who's suffering from it, can guarantee a solution. Because now that you know the causes, if you know the root, you know where it's coming from, you can now plan the best possible way to attack it or remove it. So that's pretty much what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna really talk, and as I talk, I want you to think and probably ask yourself some questions and really do a little bit of self-reflection. I'll probably do a video about self-reflection later. All right, so let's go. And when I was younger, I used to suffer from low self-esteem. Not that I'm really old now, just a couple years back. I remember one day I was sitting in my room and I was doing some self-reflection. I used to always feel like there was something wrong with me. I always felt that there was some problem with me, and that part of my low self-esteem occurred from the constant rejections I got from lots of females. But that's another topic in and of itself. So now that I got my credentials out the way, let's bring this. Let's make this a little more upbeat. Okay, so like I said, I've been doing a lot of thinking about low self-esteem. And some to me, it's kind of funny a little bit. Not like it's a joke or anything like that, but it's kind of funny how it really works. How self-esteem works, because a large part of self-esteem, unfortunately, comes from the way other people look at us. I think human beings spend so much time thinking about what other people think that we forget to figure out how we ourselves think. How we think about ourselves. And like I keep saying, it's self-esteem. Which means it comes from self. It's how yourself. It's how you look at yourself. Let me hold on. Give me a second. Let me give you a definition. It says right here, self-esteem, a good opinion of oneself, an overestimate of oneself. See synonyms under egotism and pride. There you have it. I think I fucked up my dictionary. Anyway, I know I had said, females have no self-esteem, but really, guys suffer from it too. I can think of two of my friends. I had one friend, this guy looks just like Taylor Lautner. Like this guy pulls in bitches like Asian people pull in rice. Like I'm not gay or anything like that, but he's a pretty good looking guy. And for the life of me, I couldn't. He said he had low self-esteem, and I was like, fuck wrong with you? What the fuck you mean you have low self-esteem, bruh? I mean, like, I just couldn't understand. I had another friend, another close friend of mine. This guy was like just pulling in just every girl, and like every girl he ever freaking talked to, like including the girls that I liked. The girls I liked him. But for some reason, he had really low self. He's over here having sex with lots of different girls. I mean, getting money, getting money. And everybody has like this huge opinion. Everyone just loves it, has this great opinion of him. But he looks at himself and he feels he doesn't feel like, if he feels like there's something wrong with him. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, why do you feel this way? When you have so many people that respect you. Nobody respects me. At the time, no one respected me. No one liked me. No one could even stand looking at me. So I was like, how do you get that? How do you feel inadequate when you have so many people telling you, these great things? And what I had discovered, through paying attention, and some deep analysis, the problem with this particular set of low self-esteem really stemmed from his opinions about the way his parents had looked at him. It was really, his parents were always saying some negative things about him, or telling him that he could do better, or he's better than this. And it was never really something really negative to say, hey, you're bad at this. But it was always like, you can do better. You're better than this. You should expect more of yourself. And also, his parents had always compared him to me. And I thought it was a weird dichotomy. Because even though I made good grades and I'm pretty intelligent, it never, in my opinion, that never stacked up to having another individual love you or respect you. Being intelligent, being smart is one thing. But to have someone say, hey, I love you, I care about you, be there for you, is another thing. So I always thought it was weird because, I was suffering from low self-esteem at the time too, so I didn't think very highly of myself. So I always thought it was weird that his parents would compare me to him when, he had everything that I wanted and I had everything he wanted. It was an odd situation there, but and that's just an example to go to show how your parents can have a very negative influence on how you think of yourself. I talk with a lot of hand movements. I do this a lot. I don't know why I do that. I don't know what the reason for that. Personally, I think I might be like a low self-esteem magnet for females, because lots of the girls that I've liked have had like dirt low self-esteem. Like they would like get shovels and like dig holes and then like bury themselves inside the holes and then like peek their heads above it, It was really, looking on the outside in, seeing how they always had this negative opinion of themselves, I realized, just how much of self-esteem is. Because when it came down to it, it didn't matter how many times, I thought they were pretty, I thought they were great, I thought they were beautiful. It would always and forever come down to how they felt about themselves. So that's really the thing about self-esteem. It doesn't matter how many times you say someone's pretty, someone's beautiful. It's always going to come down to how they feel about themselves. But the most ironic part about self-esteem is how other people can have such a drastic impact on how you look at yourself. I'll give you an example. I was cruising down my news feed one day, right? And I saw this one. I think she's a really pretty girl, right? I think she's beautiful. I was cruising down my news feed and I saw she made a Facebook status and she was like, oh man, this one girl thinks that I'm ugly because I wear braces. And I was looking at it and I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Why do you give a shit about what this other girl thinks of you? You have 87 likes on your photos. You have just constantly thirsty niggas commenting, telling you you're beautiful, telling you you're pretty. Constantly, you have your friends telling you all these things. But some person, just one girl, one person says something negative and you flip shit? I was like, are you serious? You are beautiful, you are gorgeous. Why do you give a fuck about what this person has to say about you? And it blew my mind. I just couldn't understand how just one person can have such a negative impact that she'd even make a Facebook status about it. I'm like, man, if I were you, I just would have shrugged that shit off and be like, so, get that shit out of here. Like me personally, literally, I would be sitting in my class doing my work, doing what I'm supposed to fuck. I'm supposed to do my work. I'm doing my work. I will have this one kid just for no reason at all. And this shit happened all the time. Seriously, this really happened to me. I was sitting there doing my work, and this one kid would just be like, "Oh, I think Zarius is ugly." The conversation would have shit to do with me, and he'll just bring it up. "I just think Zarius is ugly." Like the fuck? I had this one kid in my algebra class just for an entire month for no reason. For no reason. He'd be like, "Zarius," and I'd be like, "What?" He'd go, "You ugly as fuck!" And that shit would happen for no reason at all. So I'm having people telling me I'm ugly. I'm having people putting me down all the time. And now I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, damn. I go to tell these two stories to prove the point that their opinion didn't really matter too much to me, Reason why, I really didn't even like these two people too much to me anyway. I didn't like their character just as individuals. That's the first thing. Second thing, I used to think that they were fucking gay. Look, you're a boy. I don't care if I'm attracted to you or not, because I'm not gay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with gay people. I'm just saying in that particular situation, me being attracted to you don't mean shit. Let's say I was gorgeous. That's gay. I'm not gay. Your opinion of how I look doesn't affect me in any sort of way. So when I bring this full circle back to the girl, when I saw her Facebook status, I was confused. I was like, why does this individual you clearly have disdain for, why does her opinion matter to you? What's going on there? Why does that hurt you in any way, considering that you don't even like this person to begin with? Let me take a trip down memory lane. I remember back when I was in the 10th grade, there was one girl I liked a lot. I'm not gonna tell her. I'm not gonna say her name, because I learned my lesson there. So I remember I had liked her, and I was talking to her. I talked to her for a little while. Yeah, at first, she was kind of mean a little bit, but we got past that, and we became really close friends. We became really good friends and whatnot. And I remember I was talking to her all the time. I remember one time she told me, and she was like, she liked one of my friends, and she was like, I felt like if I was prettier, then he would like me. And I was like, why do you care? I think you're gorgeous. That doesn't mean shit to you. And like I said, for a while I couldn't really understand that aspect of it all. I feel I can. One thing I used to compliment a lot of my friends all the time, a lot of my female friends, and they wouldn't believe it. So eventually I just stopped. I'm like, fuck it. And it always bothered me. I was like, I'd be like, oh, I think you're pretty, and then be like, I don't believe you, or no, I'm not. I'm like, what? Let's think about this one for a second. Why the fuck would I say you're pretty if I didn't think so, okay? And if you're like, oh, to have sex with me, well, why would I want to have sex with you? You see? Come on. And so I'm like, come on. Like, if I'm saying something positive to you, don't throw that out. Don't filter that out. Take that to heart. It's positivity, And so that's what really leads me to how I figured out the best way to really combat a lot of low self-esteem. All right, and I'm gonna talk about that now. Actually, so the first thing that you really have to do. Okay, now pause. I know I said this isn't gonna be like one of those videos about self-help, but whatever. I'm putting it in anyway. So just to bring it around the full circle. Anyway, so the first thing you really have to do when it comes to low self-esteem is you have to change your internal dialogue. You have to change the way you talk and think about yourself. And of course, it's not easy. It's more of a testing of force of will. But that's one thing I had noticed. That's one thing I had started to do. I really started changing the way I talked about myself to myself. I really started changing the internal dialogue and started looking at more positive things about me, and really started thinking and working on what I can do and what I'm really good at. The problem is, if you keep trying to work at a whole bunch of different things and keep failing, you keep failing, but you're not learning anything from failing, it's just beating down on you. But it's just, you have to change your internal dialogue. You have to change the way you talk to yourself. The thing is you're gonna have to start learning how to filter out negativity. You gotta learn how to filter out negativity, and what I mean by that is you have to start learning how to not take negative things to the heart, or to, like I said, literally filter them out of your mind. Don't even pay attention to it. If it's not positive, don't even give it a second thought. Don't even think critically about it. If it's negative, leave it alone. Now, there's a difference between malicious negativity and constructive criticism. Those are two different things in its entirety. Although they do sound when people project them and talk about them, they sound similar, but they're not. Constructive criticism is always there to make you better. It's never there to put you down and make you feel bad. It's always there to make you better. So if someone points out a flaw, if it's not malicious, they're trying to help you. That's really good, you know. So I mean, it just goes to say, you know, not everybody you fight is an enemy, you know. But if there are people who say malicious things, let's bring back the example I just said with the girl when she feeling ugly with her braces. That's not constructive criticism. That is to make her feel. Her intent was to bother her. So you have to learn how to filter that out. If someone is saying something negative to you that you don't like, filter out. If it's not constructive, it's not to help you out, leave it alone. Forget about it. Who cares? Alright, that's one person's opinion. Who cares? What difference does it make? You know, they don't live your life, you live your life, right? So like I said, you know, two things, change the tone of dialogue, filter out. Alright, and point number 3, you know, make sure that you find some way to distance yourself from anybody bringing you negativity. You know, let me give you an example. Back when I played lacrosse, you know, I had a lot of people always telling me that I wasn't very good, always telling me that I sucked, I was really bad. I remember one time in the lacrosse group, I made a comment. I was like, you know, man, like how do I get in the first line? You know, I really want to play first line, and they just nothing but negative stuff. They're just like, you're never gonna be on first line. It's like, you know, you're not good enough. It was just a whole bunch of negativity, and these guys are supposed to be my teammates, you know. So what I mean, you know, I remember I saw this funny quote on Facebook, but it holds a lot of truth into it. It was like, before you diagnose yourself with depression, make sure you're just not surrounded by assholes, okay? So point number 3, distance yourself from people giving you, and that's your friends. Most definitely, you gotta distance yourself away from any of your friends, or talk to them about, you know, how they're making you feel. Make sure you get some distance. Get away from all negativity. Negativity is coming from your parents. You can't really get away from your parents if you live in their house. So that's why point number 2, filter out negativity. Don't pay attention to negative thoughts. Now, what I described were just a few tips, just a few thoughts that really helped me out and really helped me become a much stronger, better, more intelligent person when it comes to my self-esteem. You know, when it really comes down to it, it is self-esteem. And I know I keep making jokes and laughing about it, but in its truth, in its entirety, it is self-esteem. It does not matter how many times how many times your mom, your dad, your sister, brother, best friend, cousin, boyfriend, girlfriend, it doesn't matter how many times they say so, they tell you something positive. It all comes back down to how you feel about yourself, how you feel. You know, and if you want to change the way you look at yourself, you really do have to. You have to change the way you see yourself, change the way you look at yourself. It's about force of will. It's about doing. You know, it's about really changing and putting your foot forward and really doing a lot of self-reflection. You know, I'm gonna do a video about self-reflection too. You know, because I think that is a skill that a lot of people do not have anymore. I really think self-reflection is an ability. You know, it is hard to look at yourself. We're going to talk about that, you know, and really, you know, in this video, it is as long as it is. So, you know, self-esteem is a huge topic, and it takes a lot to get into. And in my later videos in this video series, we're gonna jump back to self-esteem, and we're gonna link it back here. Say for now, we're just barely scratching the surface. You know, just getting ready to go a little deeper and talk about some other stuff. All right, so thank you for staying with me this long, and adios. What's wrong with you? I wasn't in the video. I know, but you never had low self-esteem before. I know, but I like being in videos. Don't worry, you'll be in the next video. Well, what's the next video gonna be about? Thirsty bitches. Thirsty bitches everywhere.